A Jewish punter was at the races playing the ponies and losing his shirt. He noticed a priest step out onto the track and bless the forehead of one of the horses lining up for the fourth race. Lo and behold, that horse, a long shot, won the race. Next race, as the horses lined up, the priest stepped onto the track. Sure enough, he blessed one of the horses. The bookie made a beeline for a betting window and placed a small bet on the horse. Again, even though it was another long shot, the horse won the race. He collected his winnings and anxiously waited to see which horse the priest would bless next. He bet big on it and it won. As the races continued, the priest kept blessing horses and each one ended up winning. The bookie was elated. He made a quick dash to the ATM, withdrew all his savings and awaited for the priest's blessing that would tell him which horse to bet on. True to his pattern, the priest stepped onto the track for the last race and blessed the forehead of an old nag that was 100/1. This time the priest blessed the eyes, ears and hooves of the old nag. The bookie knew he had a winner and bet every cent he owned on the old nag. He watched dumbfounded as the old nag pulled up and couldn't even finish the race. In a state of shock, he went to the track area where the priest was. Confronting him, he demanded, "Father, what happened? All day long you blessed horses and they all won. Then in the last race, the horse you blessed never even had a chance. Now, thanks to you, I've lost every cent of my savings." Hey. The priest nodded wisely and with sympathy. "You are not Catholic, are you, my son?" "No, I'm Jewish, that's the problem," said the priest. "You couldn't tell the difference between a blessing and last rites." Back in the 1800s, the Tate's Watch Company of Massachusetts wanted to produce other products, and since they already made the cases for watches, they used them to produce compasses. The new compasses were so bad that people often ended up in Canada or Mexico rather than California. This, of course, is the origin of the expression, "He who has a Tate's is lost." A thief broke into the local police station and stole all the toilets and urinals, leaving no clues. A spokesperson was quoted as saying, "We have absolutely nothing to go on." An Indian chief was feeling very sick, so he summoned the medicine man. After a brief examination, the medicine man took out a long, thin strip of elk raw hide and gave it to the chief, telling him to bite off, chew, and swallow 1 inch of the leather every day. After a month, the medicine man returned to see how the chief was feeling. The chief shrugged and said, "The thong is ended, but the malady lingers on." A famous Viking explorer returned home from a voyage and found his name missing from the town register. His wife insisted on complaining to the local civic official, who apologized profusely, saying, "I must have taken leave of my senses." There were 3 Indian squaws. One slept on a deer skin, one slept on an elk skin, and the third slept on a hippopotamus skin. All 3 became pregnant. The first 2 each had a baby boy. The one who slept on the hippopotamus skin had twin boys. This just goes to prove that the squaw of the hippopotamus is equal to the sons of the squaws of the other 2 hides. A skeptical anthropologist was cataloging South American folk remedies with the assistance of a tribal medicine man who indicated that the leaves of a particular fern were a sure cure for any case of constipation. When the anthropologist expressed his doubts, the medicine man looked him in the eye and said, "Let me tell you, with fronds like these, you don't need enemas." Last month, a worldwide telephone survey was conducted by the UN. The only question asked was, "Would you please give your honest opinion about possible solutions to the food shortage in the rest of the world?" The survey was a complete failure because, in Eastern Europe they didn't know what honest meant. In Western Europe they didn't know what shortage meant. In Africa they didn't know what food meant. In China they didn't know what opinion meant. In the Middle East they didn't know what solution meant. In South America and Russia they didn't know what please meant. In the USA they didn't know what the rest of the world meant. And in Australia, New Zealand, Canada and Britain everyone hung up as soon as they heard the Indian accent. "I got chatting to a girl in a club. Can I buy you a drink?" I asked. "Have you not got a girlfriend?" She replied, "Guys like you always have girlfriends." "No, sadly we broke up just over a month ago," I assured her. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," she said. "Go on then, I'll have a white wine please." A few drinks later, after a kiss and a cuddle, we headed off back to her place and made passionate love. While I was putting my clothes back on, she said, "So, you're good looking, a nice guy and amazing in bed. Can I ask why on earth you split with your girlfriend?" I said, "My wife found out." Have you ever wondered what the difference is between grandmothers and grandfathers? Well, here it is. There was this loving grandfather who always made a special effort to spend time with his son's family on weekends. Every Saturday morning he would take his 5-year-old granddaughter out for a drive in the car for some quality time, pancakes, ice cream, candy, just him and his granddaughter. One particular Saturday, however, he had a terrible cold and could not get out of bed. He knew his granddaughter always looked forward to their drives and would be very disappointed. Luckily, his wife came to the rescue and said that she would take their granddaughter for her weekly drive and breakfast. When they returned, the little girl anxiously ran upstairs to see her grandfather, who was still in bed. Well, did you enjoy your ride with Grandma? He asked. Not really, Papa, it was boring. We didn't see a single asshole, poofed a dull bludgeon piece of shit, horse's ass, tree-hugging socialist left-wing green prick, blind bastard, dipshit, rag-headed Muslim camel humper son of a bitch anywhere we went. We just drove around and Grandma smiled at everyone she saw. I really didn't have any fun. Please subscribe and leave a like for daily stories.